Hey everybody, this is Danelle here at Networkchain. Hope this finds you doing well. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and inflation. And we got to sometimes take it back to the basics because we're all at different levels in terms of our Bitcoin knowledge. It obviously takes a lot of time to learn about Bitcoin, to learn about the macroeconomic environment, Bitcoin's role in macroeconomics, as well as have an understanding as to why it is hard money and why people are starting to flock into Bitcoin as a store of value and as a reserve asset to try to combat inflation in fiat currencies. So we'll get into that a little bit and we'll still have more videos talking about it. But of course, we sometimes have to go back and take some perspective and look at the basics when it comes to Bitcoin as hard money. As usual, let's go ahead and start off with the cryptocurrency market update. You can see Bitcoin is still a little bit on the downtrend, down 2.8% since this time last week. It is currently trading at around $93,300, currently at $93,345. Ethereum still trading below 4,000, hasn't gotten back up to that 4,000 level yet. It is up actually just a tad at 1.6%, currently trading at around $3,300. We have XRP in that $2 range. It's down almost 6% over the past week. We have Solana was down a little bit, took a big hit over the past week or so, now coming back up just a tad, up 2.27% at $190. Dogecoin, the biggest meme coin of them all, at a $46 billion market cap, still in the top 10 at number 7. It's basically flat over the past week, trading at around 31 cents. Then you have Cardano and Tron rounding out the top 10, and Avalanche, we'll mention, is currently at number 11, down 3.5% at $36.28. So if we look at Bitcoin and how it's been performing year to date, sometimes you still have to zoom out. Even though we got to a high of around $108,000, we have taken some steps back, and that's actually healthy. You can't just go up forever. You're going to have some corrections, and it actually is healthy for us to be able to find some baseline and accumulation, and then hopefully we'll start to soon head back towards that $100,000 range and hit back towards those new highs in that 108, hopefully going towards 110,000 over the next several weeks, potentially months. Obviously, time will tell as we get into the new year. Usually as we get towards the end of a calendar year, people are starting to take profits, do tax loss harvesting. So they're starting to take profits as well as take losses to counterbalance their profits when it comes to tax season, especially in the United States. So there could be a little bit of selling pressure as well. But there could be a number of reasons why Bitcoin is going down right now, but it actually isn't bad as a whole when you look at the chart to see that Bitcoin is coming down a little bit, because this parabolic move up usually means that there's going to be sometimes a parabolic move down. So for us to have this steady decline, hopefully we're starting to see that it's bouncing off around that $92,000, $93,000 level. So if it continues to kind of bounce off that level and continues to go back up, then that is a good sign that we could go those legs up higher in due time. So you can see here, if we look at what Bitcoin has done over the past year, basically since January 1 of 2024, it is up over double. You can see it's up over 112%. So that's, in anybody's terms, that is a great return over the past 12 months when you look at it compared to some of the other cryptocurrencies, as well as look at the S&P 500, which is the major indices of the top 500 companies in the United States. It has done more than a 4x better than the S&P 500, and it actually has been a great year for the S&P 500 as well, going in at 25% over the past 12 months. And you see MicroStrategy, which has been on a Bitcoin accumulation strategy since 2020, one of the highest performing stocks since it started its Bitcoin accumulation strategy in August of 2020. It is up over 4x at 381%, outperforming Bitcoin since January 1. So sometimes you just got to zoom back. A lot of MicroStrategy shareholders have been a little bit concerned because it's kind of been bouncing around that $300 level over the last several weeks, in the past month or so, since it skyrocketed up to over $500, and now it's kind of come back and pulled back in that $300 range. Once again, similar to Bitcoin, it's not bad to have it pull back. It's healthy to have corrections. That's just how it works when it comes to stocks and cryptocurrencies and investing in these type of assets. There's going to be legs up, there's going to be legs down, but as long as you see the trend, and when you look at it from a macro level, as long as you see that trend continuing to go up, then that's a positive sign. And we're definitely seeing that with Bitcoin. Even if we go out and zoom out a little bit more over the past 5 years, you can see Bitcoin has done more than a 12x at 1100% over the past 5 years. You can see Ethereum has done very well also over the past 5 years, doing over 2400%. Dogecoin doing a ridiculous percentage at 15,000% over the past 5 years. S&P 500 almost a doubling over the past 5 years. Usually on average they double around anywhere between 8 to 10%, 8 to 10 years, excuse me. The S&P will double, so that's always a sometimes considered a safe investment to make as a exchange traded fund. And you see MicroStrategy has also done excellent over the past 5 years, doing over 2100%. So sometimes you just got to zoom out to get a little perspective. I know this may be a little bit tough for some people who are new to cryptocurrency and they don't understand why Bitcoin has not continued to go up since it had surpassed that $100,000 level. But it's okay for it to come back a little bit, and hopefully in due time we can see those moves going past 100,000, past the all-time high of 108,000, and hopefully going towards 150 and then higher over time. So if we look at Bitcoin, you can see here, if you want to go way back to the basics, this is the Bitcoin white paper. We suggest anyone who's interested in investing in Bitcoin just to take a look at it. It's only 9 pages. There is some definitely technical aspects to it, but there are some parts that are very digestible to have an understanding of what Bitcoin is as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that is decentralized, where there is no third party that has to be involved in trading value from one person to another. It can just be peer-to-peer, from me to you. I have a wallet that holds Bitcoin. You have a wallet. If I want to send you Bitcoin, I can just send directly to you. There's no, banking system, no wiring system that's in between, just the Bitcoin transactions that are happening on the Bitcoin network. And it's all on a ledger that can be seen by anybody. It's public. And so that's some of the worthwhile characteristics of Bitcoin and why it has become so popular over time, because you don't have to have a trusted third party to make sure that these transactions are going through. Now, not a lot of people are at this point, now that we've gotten to that $100,000 level, a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I can't afford $100,000 Bitcoin. There's no way. Well, Bitcoin is divided just like a dollar is divided into cents. Bitcoin is divided into Satoshis. So there are actually 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does what many of us believe in continuing to go up and outperforming Bitcoin, outperforming dollars and fiat currency over time, which it has done since its inception, then we're going to start referring to Satoshis as opposed to Bitcoin. So we say start off with getting 1 Satoshi and make it a goal of getting to 100 Satoshis right now. So actually 100 Satoshis is actually 100,000, Satoshis is actually equal to just under $100 right now. So if you can start off and try to get to that 100,000 Satoshi mark, that's 0.001 Bitcoin. This is where you can start. A lot of people are starting to use Bitcoin as a savings account. Some people dollar cost average by buying Satoshis every day or every week or every month, or whenever they have a little extra from their paycheck, instead of putting it in the bank where they're only getting a couple of percentages points on their dollars. You can see Bitcoin has outperformed major indices, most stocks, over a larger time frame. So you just got to start somewhere. And one day, who knows, a Satoshi could be worth 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. we don't know what the future holds, but you don't have to look at it as I have to get one whole Bitcoin. You don't have to. It is divisible by these Satoshis. So you can get 1,000 Satoshis, as you can see here, is just under $1. 10,000 Satoshis, which is just under $10, since Bitcoin is currently trading at less than $100,000. So this is where you can just start to accumulate. You don't have to worry about trying to get to one Bitcoin, because Satoshis are worth something now and will continue to go up in value if Bitcoin continues to perform the way that it has in the past. So if we look at inflation, because you want to compare it to fiat dollars to see why Bitcoin is actually worthwhile. So when you look at in the United States, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics reports the rate of inflation every month. And over this past month in November of 2024, the overall index increased by 2.7%. And it's in comparison to the last 12 months. So you can see here that overall for all items, and we all know that these numbers aren't necessarily the most accurate, because when I go to the grocery store, I was just in the grocery store today, you see that eggs are more than 2% higher than what they used to be. Same thing when you're just getting a bag of chips or when you're getting some fruit. Everything in the grocery store seems to be much higher than 2%. So I don't know all the, metrics that go into this particular number, but you are losing your money if not able to save more than that 2% inflation rate. So you need to make sure that the amount of money that you're investing, the amount of money that you're saving is growing at a rate higher than the inflation. If not, then you're losing value. Your money sitting in a savings account, if you think, oh, well, I'm putting some money aside and I'm putting it in a savings account and I'm getting what right now the rate is around 3% currently, but it's starting to go down as the Federal Reserve cuts that federal funds rate. That is then going to in turn be cut down to your savings rate. So that's why a lot of people are looking to invest into stocks, because stocks generally grow at a higher rate than inflation. You want to try to put your money into something that's going to be providing more value that grows over time. Compound interest, as they say, is the eighth wonder of the world. So just start with 1,000 Satoshis, then 10,000 Satoshis. And now there's so many applications that you can use to buy Bitcoin. It's becoming easier and easier. Some of these other brokerages where you have your 401ks, you can buy a Bitcoin ETF in those 401ks. And soon, some of these major banks and some of these major brokerages are likely going to be offering cryptocurrency where you will be able to buy Bitcoin. Now, they are a third party. You are trusting them to hold your Bitcoin. So you can always take that Bitcoin and move it to a secure sovereign wallet that only you have control over. But you have control of it, so you have to make sure that you take the proper measures to secure that Bitcoin if you decide to take self-sovereignty. So there's many different ways to get exposure to Bitcoin. If you don't want to hold Bitcoin by itself on its own, if you're too worried about trusting yourself to keep your keys safe, you can buy it on a brokerage, or you can buy a Bitcoin ETF, or you can buy stocks like MicroStrategy, which buys Bitcoin and provides a Bitcoin yield for its shareholders. So just something more food for thought. We want to continue to make sure that we're providing you with information that you can think about as you start to do your due diligence and research Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But we believe that over time, Bitcoin will continue to outperform fiat currencies. Over the past 5 years, it's done over a 10x. So it is something that's worthwhile to at least start learning about and consider. Obviously, we're not financial advisors. Do the best for you and your family. But we definitely want to make sure that we continue to put this information out there and that you learn and pass this along to your loved ones. We thank you so much for following us here on YouTube. We're here for you every week. We also hope that you will make sure to check us out on X as well as IG. In the meantime, take care, and we look forward to linking up with you soon on the Networkchain. Bye-bye.